Hey guys, what's up? It's munclesonkey and welcome to my Slayer guide for how to kill Kalphites. Now, Kalphites aren't really the best Slayer XP per hour, only about 90 to 110k depending on whether you're cannoning or not, and this of course is factored in using good gear and going pretty hard at it, but they are decent money, especially if you decide to bank the damaged chitin that they drop, because they can be smithed into chitin scraps, and it's about 4k or so per damaged chitin, so it's decent if you bring a yak to bank those or want to make trips to a bank or no paper or something. Also, the charms are pretty decent. They have a very high drop rate of blue charms, dropping them about 30 to 35% of the time, and they're fairly fast kills, so you can get a lot of blue charms from this task, which is always nice because blues of course are the best XP per charm in the game. Before we get into the task itself, we just have to go over the inventory setup. So mage or range would be the styles I recommend to kill here. Melee, there's just too much running around, especially if you're using a cannon, because these things do not spawn very fast. I would also recommend to get yourself on a high spawn world like World 2 or something like that, because Kalphites just have slow spawns. I'm not sure why, but most monsters in the game spawn really fast. Kalphites do not. So the inventory is pretty simple. I do have a cannon in there. If you don't want to use a cannon, just take the cannon out of the inventory and the rest is exactly the same. Also, if you don't have the soul split curse at 92 prayer unlocked, bring a few more sharks, although Kalphites do tend to drop a lot of sharks, and at least in the exiled Kalphite lair, so you shouldn't have too many problems with food. So getting to the Kalphite lair is quite simple. If you've completed the desert treasure quest, you can just teleport to the bandit camp lodestone and then run straight south. Alternatively, if you haven't completed that quest, you can get yourself to Niche either by putting your house there and teleporting to house, which is a really great place to put your house if you're not all that into questing and don't have a lot of methods of getting around the desert. And if you get yourself to Niche, just run southwest and you'll get there pretty quickly as well. It's also very close to the pyramid during Desert Treasure, so you could teleport there with the Pharaoh's Scepter, and also get yourself there quite quickly as well if you want to do that. So in this method, I'm going to be showing myself cannoning, and I'm also going to be extremely laggy because I'm on World 2, so I would only recommend cannoning these really if you have a decent internet connection. I'll also show you guys another way that you can do Kalphites without having to kill these ones, which in my opinion is way more fun, and that would be Kalphite King in just a second. However, the Kalphite lair also has like the exiled Kalphite Queen, and that also counts for a Slayer task if you want to do that. You can also just choose to kill the Kalphites normally. Any of the paths around, there is a long path around which has a whole bunch of Kalphites and a smaller area with 4 Kalphite spawns in it if you're a bit of a lower level and can't handle all the Kalphites attacking you at once. However, in this video, I am going to be showing you guys the cannoning spot, which is the best place to can. There's 2 large rooms, one with a lot of exiled Kalphite paragons, which have really terrible drops and don't drop a ton of blue charms, and then there's also a room which is the same room when you enter the exiled Kalphite Queen's lair, and this is the room where you want to set up your cannon because they give more XP and they have better drops. They also drop like a lot of rune items and a lot of herbs as well. Unfortunately, none of this stuff is noted, so you're either going to need note paper, alks, although they do drop a lot of herbs, so I'd recommend just taking note paper if you don't have a yak, because it's definitely worth it to note the Atlantidimes and rune items, even if you don't want to note the lower valued herbs, because those ones can really add up. So you just want to plop your cannon down there, or just go ham with your abilities without the cannon if you wish. Just be aware it's not really the best XP doing this, but it is pretty decent charms, and you won't lose money even if you cannon just because of all the rune and herb drops. So my personal favorite way to complete this particular task is actually by doing the Kalphite King, not killing regular Kalphites. It's my favorite boss in the game and I absolutely love doing it. So if you guys are interested and you don't know how to do Kalphite King, I have a guide for heal voking on the left of the screen and a guide for tanking on the right of the screen. Just keep in mind you're not going to get any completely professional tips, but if you don't know how to Kalphite King, or if you haven't done very much of it, or if you haven't done it in a long time and need to brush up on the general knowledge of how it works and the mechanics, those guides are going to teach you everything you need to know for those 2 particular roles. Or if you're just DPSing Kalphite King, the tanking guide is pretty much the same thing. You just focus the minions instead of the Kalphite King when they pop out. Anyway, if you want to check out either of those 2 guides and try Kalphite King as your task, it doesn't give the best Slayer XP, but you do get the Slayer Helm bonus, and it makes KK kills faster, which is probably the best thing about the task. So looking at the rewards from this task, in 29 minutes I got 53 Clay's Slayer XP, which isn't an amazing rate, but it's decent. And also I got 920k GP, which pretty much pays for the cannonballs. So this is a great task if you love Kalphite King, and a decent task if you don't. It's not amazing, but I wouldn't skip it either. So that's about all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Feel free to check out my other Slayer guides in the playlist, and farewell.